On June 6, 2026, the New York Times revealed a shocking report. Israel had allegedly installed unauthorized spyware on the phones of senior U.S. officials, allowing it to monitor sensitive discussion surrounding efforts to end the conflict between the United States and Iran. The incident reportedly prompted Washington to elevate its assessment of Israeli intelligence activities from a high-level concern to a critical threat. The United States views Israel activities as a serious violation of its national security and intelligence protocols. This raises three fundamental questions. Firstly, why have the United States and Israel conducted joint military operations against Iran? Secondly, why does their partnership right now appear increasingly fragile? And third, why did Israel decide to spy on top U.S. officials? In this video, we will deep dive into U.S. and Iran war by answering these three fundamental questions. Stay tuned and watch till the end. Firstly, why have the United States and Israel conducted joint military operations against Iran? There are numerous reasons behind their cooperation, but the most important factor is that Iran is widely viewed by both Washington and Tel Aviv as a major geopolitical adversary. From the perspective of the United States and Israel, Iran represents not only a strategic rival, but also a political and ideological challenge to their interests in the Middle East. For decades, Iran has sought to expand its regional influence, strengthen its position as dominant powers, and project its influence beyond the region. To achieve these objectives, Iran has pursued three key strategies. The first strategy involves the development and support of what Iran calls the axis of resistance, a network of armed groups and allied organizations operating across the Middle East. According to Iran, these organizations serve a resistance front against foreign intervention and Israeli influence. However, the United States and several of its allies classify some of these organizations as terrorist groups. These Iran-backed organizations operate in countries such as Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and Yemen. Through financial assistance, military training, weapon transfers, and political support, Iran has built a network of partners capable of advancing its strategic interests across the region. From the perspectives of the United States and Israel, this group functions as instruments of Iranian power projection, allowing Tehran to expand its influence while avoiding direct military confrontation. As a result, both Washington and Tel Aviv view Iran regional network as a significant security threat and a major obstacle to their strategic objectives in the Middle East. The second Iran strategy is that it depends on long-range and hypersonic missiles to outreach the region and to infiltrate into the most advanced air defense system. Being surrounded by the U.S. bases and its primary enemy, Israel, at a distance over 2,000 kilometers away, Iran focused on long-range and hypersonic missiles. Facing intense military pressure from the United States and Israel, Tehran has heavily invested in ballistic, long-range, and hypersonic missile technologies to compensate for its conventional military weaknesses. This diverse arsenal, one of the largest in the Middle East, is strategically engineered to project power, strike regional U.S. and Israeli installations, and inflict high cost on any potential aggressor by evading modern interception systems. The third Iran strategy is that it wants to possess nuclear weapons to safeguard its security, to ensure its survival, and to strengthen its dominant power in the region. Iran knows that most of its adversaries, the United States and Israel, possess nuclear weapons. Therefore, Iran, who has the ambition to be the dominant power, must possess these nuclear weapons. While Iranian leaders maintain that uranium enrichment and technological advancement are strictly for peaceful energy and scientific research, Western power and Israel view the infrastructure as the right pathway toward a nuclear weapon. For Israel, if Iran possesses nuclear weapons, it represents an existential threat amplified by Tehran regional proxy networks and hostile rhetoric. Consequently, while Tehran views this program as essential protection for its national survival, Washington and Tel Aviv perceive Iran expanding missile and nuclear capabilities as a severe security challenge that threatens to destabilize the regional balance of power. The second question is, why are the United States and Israel allies, and why does their relationship now appear increasingly fragile? The alliance between the United States and Israel has long been built on shared strategic interests, common security concerns, and close military and intelligence cooperation. However, even strong alliances can experience tension when partners pursue different objectives. The current fragility in the US-Israel relationships stems largely from differing visions regarding the endgames of military operations against Iran. From the perspective of the United States under President Donald Trump, the primary objective is to dismantle Iran's nuclear program and compel Tehran to accept a comprehensive agreement that permanently prevents it from acquiring nuclear weapons. At the same time, Washington must consider broader strategic factors, including regional stability, global energy markets, economic consequences, and the risk of a wider conflict in the Middle East. Therefore, the United States has a strong incentive to find a political and diplomatic pathway that can eventually bring the conflict to an end. Recent reports indicate that President Donald Trump has repeatedly emphasized diplomacy and even urged Israel to avoid actions that could derail negotiations with Tehran. Israel, however, may view the situation differently. Many Israeli policymakers regard the current Iranian regime as the root cause of the threat. Under this interpretation, merely limiting Iran's nuclear program may be insufficient if the regime retains its military capabilities, missile forces, regional networks, and ideological hostility toward Israel. Some analysts therefore argue that certain factions within Israel would prefer not only a weaker Iran, but also fundamental political change within Iran itself. In addition, some scholars argue that Israel's broader strategic objective is to maintain overwhelming military superiority in the Middle East and prevents the emergence of a new regional power capable of challenging its position. Within this interpretation, Israel would prefer a regional environment in which potential rivals, including Iran, and to some extent, other major regional powers, remain sufficiently weak that none can seriously threaten Israeli security or strategic freedom of action. The third question is perhaps the most intriguing. Why did Israel decide to spy top US officials? There are two possible reasons to explain this. First, Israel may not have wanted to be merely a participant affected by the outcome of negotiations. Instead, it may have wanted to understand, anticipate, and potentially influence the direction of those negotiations. For Israel, the future of Iran is not simply a diplomatic issue. It is a matter of national security and long-term regional strategy. Reports suggest that U.S. intelligence officials became concerned that Israeli intelligence agencies were seeking information about Washington's internal deliberation regarding Iran. Second, Israel may have been concerned that the United States and Iran could eventually reach a settlement that weakens Iran's nuclear ambition but leaves much of Iran's military infrastructure and political system intact. From the perspective of many Israeli security officials, such an outcome may not fully eliminate what they perceive as the long-term threat posed by Iran.